goes behind the back here. Oh, little sidestep and a jam by Wemby-Ep.90.
This is the Morning Huddle on 94.1 San Antonio's Sports Star with Rob Thompson and the managing editor of Blogging the Boys, RJ Ochoa. Now, here's Rob and RJ.
Who'd you rather be today? Me, feeling a little dry. No. The Phoenix Suns, after losing to the Spurs on the road the way they did. Or anything else. I don't know. I was going to pair him to Shohei. I think Shohei's in a deeper bucket of crap than Phoenix is. But, man, what an embarrassing loss. You know, I'm all about a win, but, oh, my goodness. The Phoenix Suns strolled into a game last night and got beaten by dudes that wanted a little bit more. This is the Morning Huddle every day at 7 o'clock. We talk silver and black. It is our daily podcast. Make sure you are subscribed in the appropriate fashion. You put a thumb on it and then liked it on the appropriate way to ensure that all get their just desserts. That's RJ Ochoa. I am Rob Thompson. We gather together like this every morning from 6 to 10 under the faithful direction of Edwin Hefner. We are here to entertain and to inform. Let's do that. Wow, what a win. I was talking to my brother yesterday on the way home, and he's from the golf tournament, and I'm, what's going on? We were kind of catching up with each other, and he goes, oh, yeah, I've headed to the game. I go, man, that's kind of a letdown. It's like, what? Why? I said, no Wemby. What? I said, yeah, he looked like he'd kind of hit the wall on Saturday. I'm not really surprised, but he evidently tweaked his ankle and took the night off. And, I think we all kind of expected a rerun of Saturday night, but that's not what we got. An inspired performance by Keldon, an inspired performance by Devin, who bounced off of a pretty lousy performance, and we can't give enough love to Jeremy hitting a jump shot with about 30 to go to take the lead and win the basketball game. Well done, Spurs. It's those unexpected little gifts that kind of, I guess, keep you involved with the team as they wind it down.
Yeah, as somebody who went to the game on Saturday night, I'm in no way jealous of the fact that they completely and totally folded and then showed up with the fight of all fights on Monday night, a random night seemingly relative to everything else. We had talked about this yesterday. My parents were in the golf tournament. They had a lot of fun, and they went to the game. And so obviously I knew they were going. And so when I saw everything, I texted them. I said, hey, I'm really sorry. There's no Wemby tonight. They were all bummed. Well, I think I would have traded spots with them, traded games with them. I mean, holy crap. Do you want to play our favorite win probability game here?
Yes. 30 seconds. 27 seconds to go.
The Spurs actually held a positive win probability for most of the fourth quarter.
Despite best efforts.
So, no, I mean, the game was in hand. In fact, with 4 minutes and 17 seconds to go. All right. 4 minutes and 17 seconds. They held a 94.2% win probability. The Spurs did when they were up 99-91. That dipped so far and so fast that by 2 minutes and 29 seconds being left on the clock, the Suns, who had then had scored 9 unanswered, were up 199. They held a 53.8% win probability. So in the span of 2 minutes, and ultimately retook control right at 29 seconds with Jeremey Sochan's three-pointer.
In these kind of things, I don't know where to focus because I think Kevin Durant kind of summed up his career last night in a kind of a disinterested loss. It's funny when you see teams try to turn it on late, like, oh, no, they're going to beat us. And, Phoenix did everything they could to come back. It was just too deep of a hole. And Jeremy, I mean, so there are shots when you're coaching defense, they go, yeah, we'll live with that. Jeremy taking a 3 to win the basketball game. That's a shot that Phoenix would have lived with. The lightning just kind of struck him, but the win was there. And Pop talked about how special Jeremy was last night, and he was everything he was drafted to be against the Suns.
KD is such a difficult matchup for everybody. He's one of the greatest ever. And Jeremy never stopped working his butt off. He's very physical and did everything he could to guard a great player. So he deserves a lot of credit. And he also hit the board for us. I think he had about, I didn't see I think 16, 17 boards, I think, tonight. Was it? Yeah.
Career high.
So he was very special.
I notice, despite the three that we're all talking about, everything Pop brought up was the reason he was drafted. The KD stopper, the defense, the boards, the glue. That was Jeremy last night. Spectacular.
I mean, would you go as far as saying his best game as a Spur?
Well, yes. And Keldon had an inspired performance. And Devin, the decision-making and bouncing back off of a bad game. And let's talk about the elephant in the room. I know they're only 2-7 without him. And I know there's a tremendous difference of the way, the defensive numbers. I mean, it's obvious that Victor is the rookie of the year, the future of the Spurs, soon to be the face of the league. It's obvious. It's coming. But why in the last two games do the old dudes suddenly look like the old dudes with fun and vigor without him?
It's a good question.
Because the answer is someplace I don't think we want to go or should go.
Take us there.
Well, no, I mean, there's a couple things. Well, first of all, I think Sean Elliott pointed it out. I think if you're the Phoenix Suns and you're in the layup line and you look over and you see Victor in designer Givenchy gear, you're like, hey, this just might be a little bit easy. So you kind of letting your guard down. And I do think in that first half, as I turned over, and I even turned to my dog, who, I'm trying to teach her the finer points of the game. And I turned and said, Avery, it is hard to watch bad NBA basketball in March, right after I watched a overtime defensive struggle, Texas A&M and Houston. Literally within 24 hours, I watched a bunch of NBA guys standing around just kind of like staring at each other, not playing defense and just letting the Spurs kind of dribble through them. I mean, it was the most uninspired half of basketball I've seen in a long time by a basketball team, and Vogel needs to be questioned. If I was a Suns fan, I would be like, what the hell was that? But that's, I ain't them, so I ain't going to go there. So I do think there was a little bit of the Suns allowing the young dudes to kind of express themselves in ways that maybe Victor won't or can't.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think about that? Because this is the existential question about this season.
It's really difficult to just drop in a player as talented as Wemby, right? Like it's not as simple as, oh, new player here, everybody good, boom. You know what I mean? And throughout the game last night, before they almost blew it, when they were kind of crushing the Suns, there was a lot of chatter I saw on Spurs Twitter with people saying things like, the young guys are having fun.
Yeah,
right? Like
that's what you hate to hear, right?
Well, there was this like sense of, oh man, they're just, the adults are out of the room, the kids are playing kind of thing. And I don't know why that can't happen with him. I don't know. Does he stifle the fun?
I don't think he stifles it. I think you're kind of walking on eggshells. You brought it up in pre-show as we were talking about this, and I thought this is just valuable. They see what we're saying. They might not admit it. And even the Spurs have even talked in the last week. Did you read this about how they've really stressed, put your phones down, man. Live in the world, the tangible right now. Live with us. And they're trying to get the kids away from socials, because I do think that Pop is preaching one thing and they're reading in the socials, all this other stuff. And suddenly the one thing is not there, and they can just go. Keldon looked like they had won a playoff game last night. Did you see him? I mean,
well,
I know that's his personality, but
I'm not saying that they resent Wemby.
No, I'm not going there either. No,
I think they probably get annoyed at the attention that he gets and how he gets all of the credit and none of the blame, generally speaking, because there's definitely some credit that belongs on other shoulders, and there's definitely a lot of blame that belongs on Wemby. We talk about that all the time.
Mm-hmm.
His turnovers, his 3-point game, and his, his seemingly shying away from work as a big, right? So I think that they probably might feel, okay, you know what? let's just this is a carpe diem sort of game. You know what I mean? Like let's just go see, let's go experiment, let's go be weird, let's go have fun. And there's a great liberty to that. I mean, and the sample size isn't massive, but it isn't as minute as possible. And that is interesting.
Yeah, there's a trend. It's not a definite, but there is a trend that when they're only 2-7. But and there's some things in here. The Suns are responsible for nearly a quarter of the Spurs wins. Pledge jumped in on the brigade bar. I want you to bring on Money Paradox. Put him back up on the lead there, Edwin, because I want to talk about what he had to say. They play faster without Wemby. Not saying better, they just play faster. And I do think there's some of that is definitely true because they know each other a little bit better. They're a couple years together. So there is a speed quotient that you just pick up from comfortability. So I completely agree with that. But, I want to juxtapose Victor and Caitlin because I do think they represent two different archetypes of greatness because Caitlin has the Kobe gene, has the Michael gene. She's going to get you there. She's going to carry you there. You watch her in Iowa last night. It was cutthroat. Somebody else won the game, but Caitlin scored more than half their points. It is Caitlin and the Caitlinettes. And we can't name a Caitlinette. It doesn't matter, though. They complement her perfectly because they know she is taking them there. They're there to help, but they understand, like there's some players in the world that when they get the ball, the reason the play was called was for them to go score. Mm-hmm. And then there's other players in the world, when a play is called, the play is called for the team to go score. It might be you that gets it, and odds on you'll be the one. But once you understand it's about everybody and you, then everything will work. Wemby is kind of in this age of comparisons. If I'm comparing Caitlin to Kobe and Michael, I'm comparing Wemby to LeBron. LeBron has always made people better. Always got guys around him. He's there to improve. He's a pass first point guard and a power forward body. That's what he's always been. And the comparison there to Wemby, I think, is awfully close. Wemby's there to make other guys better. He knows he's great, but he has more fun dropping a dime sometimes than he does scoring. You can see it. And that's okay. But you're going to have to accept the fact that some of these guys are going to, even though he wants to share, he is still the first option. And I think he's having to learn, if I'm going to be a team guy, I got to be more of a team guy. And first and foremost, if I'm handling the ball and doing all this, we only had 7 turnovers last night. 7. I'll tell you what, if you look at the Spurs victories over the last 5 years, if they're under 10, they win. Most teams do. So while we're missing Wemby, some of the errors, some of just the stupidity that we bitch about, it's Wemby. Now, we place some of the blame on other dudes, but we only had 7 turnovers with these guys last night. And at the end of the day, that's the answer.
I think it's interesting because there isn't a large sample size, right, of success without him. It just hasn't happened a lot, right? It's happened twice. But it's interesting looking at the Suns games, and granted, this, any Spurs team owns the Suns, whatever. So that is a prerequisite, I suppose. But how they played this exact Suns team twice in a span of 48 hours, once with and once without him, right? Like, we're not talking about a performance against a different team. We're talking about a performance against the exact same team. And so it's interesting to kind of like measure them up,
it is an apples to apples comparison.
Right. Like, that's my point. Like, you don't get that often to where you can actually look at it that way. And it's hard to be an et. You talked about the Caitlinettes. It's hard to be a Wemby-Ep,
It's a skill.
I guess.
It's a skill.
Well, it goes back to what the Derek White, conversation about moving without the ball, and not everybody is skilled at that. And I don't fault Jeremy for not being skilled at that, or Devin for not being skilled at that, because this whole thing happened and changed and, was unpredictable. But nobody had to be an et last night. They got to be a team. You know what I mean? Like, they were not a, They were an orchestra. You know what I mean? Like, they were an orchestra.
And all the other first chairs got to play a little bit of a solo.
Yeah, exactly.
Mhm.
As opposed to, the main dude who goes up and does the solo, and everybody just does background ambient, harmonies. And so I think you see a different energy, and that's not like a demerit against them. It's just human nature.
I
It's
think
very
there's all
strange.
of that there, and I don't want to place too much on just a couple of wins. Um, but Jeremy did talk about what the team minus Wemby has to do.
Yeah, I think it's just understanding, he's a key piece that we're missing. And I think that makes, and we need to be more connected in that sense if we're missing him. So we got to do stuff he does, where that's defense, rebounding, making it difficult for people to score in the paint. And, because we don't have him as a key piece, we have to be connected. We got to help each other more. And play fast. So, yeah.
I think the speed was brought up by Money Paradox on the Brigade Bar, and play fast. And I think it's a lot easier to play fast with those three guys because they know each other a little bit more. And speaking of, Jeremy, congratulations. He will be a proud member of the Polish Olympic contingent, as it was announced over the last couple of days. He was extraordinary, and he was everything that we wanted out of Jeremy. Yeah, but I think the takeaway was the freedom that we saw those guys play with, whether it's familiarity because they've been around each other long enough to do some things that, Wemby, whether by fault or by design, kind of gets in the way of. But the exuberance of, he ain't here, let's have some fun, that's something we got to fix. There should be, oh no, what are we going to do without him? There should be panic, not like, thank God he's not going to be here tonight. Let's have some fun.
It also is, why can't it be fun with him? That's just like, that's my only real question. Why can't there be fun with, and I don't put that on them, or I don't put that on Wemby. I put that on Pop.
Yes.
Why can't you recreate this with Wemby in the fold?
Because
teach Wemby the body language or the whatever that they have, the secret sauce. Like, why is he this outsider? That's the way it looks. I know it's not that way, but that's the way it looks in moments like this.
But a bit of real talk. It's Wemby's way or the highway. It's not like, oh, Victor, you're going to have to adjust. These poor guys just play better when you're gone. That's not the conversation that's being had. The conversation is, you better adjust your altitude and play free and happy with him, or you're going to be playing free and happy someplace else. So let's not take away the fact that, oh, Wemby's going to have to adjust. These poor other guys have been stifled. No, I put it squarely on everybody else. Now, Wemby, you're going to have to do some things a little bit better. And the most important takeaway is, hold on to the damn ball. Stop turning it over. Stop it. I don't care if it stifles your offense, if it forces you to pass it to Jeremy a little bit more often, but stop the damn turnovers. We won without you against Kevin Durant, Devin Booker. We won without you. You know why? Because we didn't have you kicking the ball out of bounds. We didn't have you headed at the ball to everybody around you.
Let's relax, because they almost blew it. Let's also, calm down,
but
just a little bit on that front, because
and the turnovers matter. And that's what Pop's talking about. He ain't talking about, man, we got to replicate this free and easy. No, it's a whole lot easier when our star isn't turning the ball over every other possession. So, yeah, we're going to talk about free and easy and a happy Devin and Jeremy were. No, they were winning because Victor wasn't turning the damn ball over, not because he wasn't there.
They also almost lost. They allowed the Suns to put up game-winning shots. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I could parse that as they came back and, a valiant effort to win.
No, all I'm saying is, they were hazardous and chaotic at the same time as being fun and loose. They weren't just fun and loose. There was a lot of, turmoil that was encircling the game in the finish in the fourth quarter because of their inexperience. There were several times throughout the fourth quarter was like, oh yeah, these dudes, this is who they are. They can't hang on. They don't have the, veteranness or whatever required to put a game away like this. And they almost lost it several times. If not for the dude who hadn't hit a 3-pointer since you win it in last spot milk, they would have lost.
I love the way you put something that coaches would have put on a chalkboard. That is the definable difference between average and good and great. Hazardous and chaotic versus having fun. Because finding that fine line is the key to success. You put it exactly. Hazardous and chaotic and having fun, because having fun lends itself to being hazardous and chaotic for most of us. I know for me it does.
Yeah, I mean,
and
chaos can be fun.
And we had the success of that last night. But I don't want anybody to take away the conversation that we're having, like, oh, you know, Victor, you're going to have to adjust to these guys. That ain't the conversation. Victor, stop turning the ball over. Everybody else, you need to find that free and easy fun when Victor's on there, or you're going to be playing somebody else, somewhere else. Part of a deal.